Good morning, everyone. Today I just wanted to go over some of the process of actually covering a cake with fondant. First, you need to roll out a mat, or you can use a table or a countertop, and then dust it with a little powdered sugar or cornstarch. And then you want to start kneading your fondant. I've got a pretty large cake that I'm going to be covering, so I'm going to actually use the panel technique where you actually wrap it and then cover the top. I find that it's smoother that way. So I'm going to knead this until it's not cracking, and if you can see, there's some cracked areas. But if you knead it really well, it'll get really smooth. So everyone thinks this is an easy process, and they say, why do you charge so much for your cakes? Well, the truth is there's a lot of work involved in just putting together a cake. Not only do you have all your materials that you have to prep and get ready, but you also have to do some research and then go buy the material and then make all of the pieces, bake the cake. So it's quite a process. Some people say, I can't believe you charge that much for a cake, which I don't think my prices are unreasonable. I figure if you want to go and get an inexpensive cake that has a lot of preservatives in it and is not as tasty, you can go to Walmart or any of those stores. I'm not saying that they're bad cakes. They're just not made from scratch, and there's not a lot of process to them. So I'm really just talking to give you guys an idea. It takes a little while to knead this. It's not something that you just pop out of a bag and throw on your cake. You actually have to condition it. I also have, besides the cornstarch, I have a little bit of Crisco in the event that it gets too dried out before I actually get it popped onto my cake. You can use a little Crisco and rub between your hands. Condition the fondant. So now that we have that pretty conditioned, let me throw this away. You can use a small rolling pin if you want. I like for the larger cakes to use my larger rolling pin. And again, I'll just take a little bit of cornstarch and tap it on my pin. And don't worry about it if it gets on your fondant, because you can steam it and get all of that off, or take a brush and brush it off if you don't steam your cakes. Personally, I think steaming them gives them a little shine. And then for some reason my board is sliding this morning, so bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna use my grip that I use on my cake board. I'm gonna put that under here. And the reason why I use a mat is so that I can put it straight on the cake by picking up the mat, especially if it's a larger cake. And like I said, this is one of my larger ones. As you can tell, it takes a little bit of arm strength to roll this out. A lot of bakeries don't even really mess with fondant. I'm not sure if they find it too difficult to work with, or if it's just a preference. Me personally, I like all the medians, not just buttercream. I think buttercream can be pretty, but I think it's also pretty basic. Just my personal opinion. So as you can see, that one piece of fondant has rolled out to be quite long, and it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So I'm gonna press it out this direction so that I can get an even consistency all the way across. I want to make it all about 1/4 of an inch. And then here, I'm trying to get it the length of my, I'm knocking things over, the length of my mat. I don't want to make it too thin because I want to make sure that the cake is covered, but I want to make sure I have enough to go around. So there you have it. See, it's a little thinner in some spots, and that's okay. Okay, so I have rolled out my fondant, and then I've rolled it up on my small rolling pin, and I went and got my cake. I've already pre-covered my cake with some ganache, and now I'm just going to line it up and go around, all the way around the cake. Just unrolling it off my rolling pin. And it's okay if it does not go all the way around. You can add pieces because you are paneling, so it's all right if it does not go all the way. And I'm going to go ahead and just smooth this out. Press it all the way down. Smoothing it out. Attaching it to the cake. Can you see that? Yes. Okay. So, again, just smoothing it all the way around. So you got a nice clean surface to work with. And then you can use a knife, you can use whatever. And as you see, I've got this area, and I kind of did that on purpose so I can show you how to do the paneling. And if you don't have enough fondant, so you just go around the edge. You can use scissors, you can use a knife, you can use a straight blade, whatever you feel comfortable using. And normally I would have this on a turntable, but I know some people don't have turntables, so I just want to show you can do these types of cakes anywhere. And as you can tell, I'm not getting any bubbling, and we'll clean that edge off around the bottom as well. So we'll just continue to cut the top and then smooth it out. And you have that. You'll just put that over there with your other fondant. Smooth that out with your hands. And if you have these are smoothers. These are great. So I'm just going to smooth that out all the way around. All the way around. Make sure it comes to the edge. And then I am going to take a straight blade, one of these, Let me clean this powdered sugar off here. Alright, powdered sugar off the blade. So I'm going to go around the edge on the bottom. Just make sure that's nice and clean edge. And we're pretty close on until we get over here. And then we're just going to go around the bottom edge of the cake. And then go back in and peel that away. Same on this side. And then I'm going to show you how to do that very back side panel. And we'll push that down. Okay, and then you're just going to go around the bottom. You can use your fingers. You can use, if you have a poster board, cut a little piece that's smooth and run it around the cake. You see we have just a little edge there. We'll pull that off. All right. And then come to this side. Got just a little bit, not much. But there you go. Got those little pieces we'll put over there. And like I said, this on top, we will smooth that out more when we cover the top. But as you can see, I have this gap right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the cake aside. I'm going to dust my mat a little bit here. And then what I had left over, I'm going to knead this a little bit. And then we're going to roll it out again. And remember, you want to keep to that 1/4 inch size. So flatten it out. And then roll it. Again, my table is sliding. I want to make sure that my width, you notice I changed to a smaller rolling pin. Okay. We don't have a very big gap, but enough to give you an idea of when you think you've messed up. So, we're going to roll this out a little more. Actually, in cake decorating, there is no wrong way. There's only trial and error. Well, there is a right way and a wrong way, but when you're first learning, some of the things that you think you know, you don't know. So, I'm just trying to give you an idea of how you can fix things. So, we'll put that aside. And I'm going to cut that off about right there, because I think that should give us plenty to work with. So, I want those creases in there, so I'm going to roll that out, smooth it out a little bit. So, now what you want to do is you want to make sure that you Let me pull this in. You want to make sure this area that's open, you want to make sure that you go all the way over to the sides. And I am just going to do, where is my spray? I'm going to hit this ganache with a little bit of water. Let me move this. I hit that with a little bit of water. I just use a spray bottle. It's easier for me. And then I'm going to put it here. Again, lap it over what you already have there. And smooth. And you see that little bit. It's hard to show you without really, hold on. Without really getting down there to see. But you'll have a lump where your fondant meets on either side. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off the excess like we did the other. There we go. We're going to smooth that again onto the cake. And where you have your layovers, I want you to cut on top of the pre-existing fondant. So you're going to go ahead and cut down between both layers of fondant. You'll peel off what you have there. You'll fold this back and you'll remove the fondant underneath. And then you simply seam it right up to the other. And ta-da! You have one full panel. And we'll kind of work with that a little bit. You won't even know there's a seam there. Same with the other side. Cut down both layers of fondant. Peel the first one back. Throw it aside. Peel this back. And remove the one underneath. If you need to recut it a little bit, that's fine too. Remove that. Throw it to the side. And piece together. With your fingers. With the smoother. Until you have a pretty closed seam there. And then we'll just cut off this excess all the way around. On both sides. If you have the one where you get chocolate on the fondant, just go ahead and put that fondant to the side. And then all the way around with your X-Acto knife. It doesn't look clean right now, but it will. You're gonna make sure you keep that pretty straight around the cake. Clean off your X-Acto blade if you need to, because it will get sticky because of the water in the ganache. And if you don't have an X-Acto blade, a knife will be just fine. So, just keep turning it. I like to get it as close to the cake as possible so I don't have ugly gaps from my top and my bottom. So just keep turning the cake. If you see where there's an area that needs a little more trimming, just go back and trim it. All right. And here we go. Now you have a smooth top. We're just going to go ahead and do this around the top. Smooth down any imperfections. And you're ready to panel the top. So, I'm going to take a little Crisco and rub it between the two cracks to kind of seal those up so that you don't really see them. And I try to make them on the back side, so even if there is a hint, which that side, no, you really don't see the seams at all once you get it conditioned. All right, that one you can see a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So then we're going to take some more of this fondant, and we want to cover the very top. So I'm going to move those pieces over. I'm going to move the cake over. Get that blade out of the way. And I'm going to condition this and roll it out into a circle. And this is a 10-inch cake, so you want to make sure that you have enough to cover the entire top of this cake. Now, at this point, I could move my cake over to a safer area, as I say. I'm just, in the event that I get to rolling too hard, I don't want to knock my cake off. So I'll move that for the time being. And then I'm going to add some more of this cornstarch to my mat. Don't want this stuff sticking. And roll it, roll it, roll it. Knead it, knead it, knead it. Now remember, we want this to be 10 wide. And we still want to keep true to form with that 1/4 inch thickness, even on top. I like to just flip it around so we can get the same amount of thickness on every side and in the middle. And like I said, it needs to be about 10 inches in diameter so that we get the whole surface of the cake. I still need to make shoes, which I will be working on later, and I'll video that as well. Oh, we got a little ganache on there, and that's okay. I think we got about the same thickness everywhere. And so now I'm just going to move my cake back over to this surface. Take a little of this Crisco and take that chocolate off there. You can see it takes the cornstarch off as well. And then we're just gonna move it. We're gonna move the cake back to our work area. And I'm going to lift this, pull my cake, and just lay it on top. Pull it down. And then we're going to cut around the edge. Starting on this side, because that's the side that's open. And I'm just going to follow the edge of the cake. Remember, you can always get rid of more. You can't always put more back. So just follow the edge of the cake. If you find it's getting too long to hold on to, just clip it off. Lay it aside. And then all the way around. Turn it if you have to. All right, and just continue around the edge of the cake. Because we're going to smooth this out with the fondant smoothers here in a minute, and you'll see what I'm talking about, taking more off if you need to. See, I went a little crazy right there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this side. And I'll show you how to fix that. So, you may think you've messed up at this point, but really, you haven't. What we're going to do is we're going to shift a little bit. And we're going to press this direction. Now you want to make sure that your cake is cool. And you're just going to stretch that fondant just a little bit. And then you're going to pinch it together around the seams. If you have access, like here, you're just going to cut that off. And press, press, press. See, we have a little more there. And this is where you want to take and run your smoother all the way around. And then take a little bit of the Crisco in between your fingers. And then we're going to go and we're just going to smash these together. So we're not seeing that split at the top. Okay. Some cake decorators will show you this process, some won't. I just think it's beneficial to know. So we're just going to do that all the way around. You still have your flat surface. But you're actually milling those two together to be more cohesive. And like I said, the Crisco really helps to hide the seams. And it still looks like you covered it in one full swoop. So, then we're gonna make sure we're still getting sharp edges. All the way around. And there you have it. Nice, covered, paneled cake. Ta-da! Okay, you're all done with step 1. Step 2 coming up later. Have a great day.